Your best worst mistake. If you really think about it, it is a brilliant question, and no, I didn't think of it. So my sister lives in Florida and she flies in to visit the family pretty regularly. And one time when she flew in, she brought this little like card game thing, and we all sat together, and you pull a card and answer questions, and it's a better way to help you like get to know each other on a deeper level. Questions you may want to know about each other, but you just didn't think to even ask. It was a really cool idea, and one of the questions that I got was, what was your best worst mistake? And I really had to think about it for a second, and I think it's just such a brilliant question, so I wanted to share it with you guys. Now, mine is pretty dark. I mean, there's a lot of dark to get to a lot of light. Now, before we break this question down, for those of you who do not know, my name is Brandy. I have partial paralysis. I fractured my back in 8 places back in 2010 from a car accident. I have spinal cord damage, so I have to use a wheelchair for my day-to-day life. I can get up, I can stand up if I have something to hold on to, but I have no balance. I cannot walk. All right, what is my best worst mistake? And then I want to know your all's. I mean, if you're open to talking about it, because if you really think about it, it could get pretty deep, but if you don't mind sharing, then drop it in the comments below. I'm gonna try to shoot through this as fast as I can while explaining the whole thing. If I never became an addict, I wouldn't have my children today. And let me explain why. After my car accident, they gave me all the pain medications, right? I ended up becoming addicted to the pain medications. I ended up going to Texas to a residential rehab facility for 30 days. And then I was supposed to come home after that, but I ended up doing a, what's it called? Shoot, why am I getting a mental block on this? I know the word. I'll think of it later. I'm just having like a mental block, and like a sober living. Yes. After the residential program, I was supposed to go back to Virginia, and I ended up going into a sober living program after the 30-day residential program, living with some other women who were, working on their sobriety. And when I was in that program and in that house, I ended up meeting my kid's dad. So if I had never became addicted and then had to go to Texas to a residential facility, I would have never met my kid's dad. They're like, there's no reason that I would have ever been in Texas to meet him and then have 2 children. So that's really it's such a wild circle if you really think about it. Even though that relationship for me was one of the most toxic relationships I've ever had, I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade it for anything, because without that relationship, I wouldn't have my kids today. And that is pretty wild to think about. So my best worst mistake, it was a mistake allowing the drugs to take control of me and be my life for such a long period of time in my 20s. That was a huge mistake. But if I never had that mistake, I wouldn't have my kids today. How remarkable is that? I don't know why I find that question such a brilliant question. It was my best worst mistake. What is your best worst mistake? Really think about that. Actually really ask yourself that. It's brilliant. Bye, guys.